Yeah, this picture was taken the last month I worked. April of '80.
Is that in Lowith?
Huh?
Was that over in Lowith or?
No, that was in Deer Lodge. I was in Deer Lodge for 16 years. I was, well, the load dispatcher was assistant general foreman of the whole division. Over in the last years I worked, I was a division electrician from St. Mary's, Idaho to Mulberry, South Dakota, Great Falls, and Lewistown. All along. Yeah, so. Yeah, let's see.
Helena, Montana, at 4651 Karen Drive with Waylon Smith. And it's the 24th of April 2017. Can you give us your name, please?
Waylon D. Smith,
And when were you born?
May the 7th, 1928,
Where were you born?
Bartlesville, Oklahoma.
And when did you come to Montana?
In November of 45.
Was that after the service, after the war?
Yeah, I went in the Navy and joined in December of 45
So you,
and left Helena in January for San Diego.
so you came to Montana, then joined the Navy.
Yes. Yeah.
What did you do in the Navy?
Electrician.
Is that where you learned the trade?
Well, when I was going to high school and when we lived in California, I worked for shipyards in Wilmington, California, on ships in the electrician department when I was 16 years old. And for 2 years, I worked the summers when I wasn't going to school.
So what kind of training did you get doing that besides on the job?
So I went to electrician school in the Navy when I was there. Yeah.
Was that pretty good training for an
Oh yeah,
electrician?
it was good training. Yes.
So what kind of things would you do in the shipyards? Electrician?
Layout work and all, new layout, raceways and stuff throughout the ship. Yeah.
So you got out of the Navy when?
In October of '48. That's been 6 months and 4 days in the Navy hospital in Oakland Naval Hospital in Oakland, California. Was injured aboard ship, and then they discharged me in October.
Were you at sea then, or?
No.
No, I mean when you were injured.
No, we weren't. We just got out of the shipyard and it was out in the bay in San Francisco to load ammunition, and we was working on a air conditioning motor, and kind of working with me, dropped the end of the shaft and tore my kidneys loose and everything, and put me in the hospital in Oakland.
So you got out of the Navy in '48?
Yes, October.
And then came to Montana? So what did you do then?
Well, in '48, I came back to Montana. I came to Deer Lodge, Montana, and went to work for the Montana State Prison.
What did you do for them?
Just guard, yeah. The only qualifications is you had to walk the 3-foot wall on top at that time.
How long did you do that?
Let's see. 48. In January of '49, I went to work for the Montana State Highway Department as on a survey crew, and they were working at Garrison out of Deer Lodge. Yeah.
But you were living in Deer Lodge that whole
Yes,
time?
I was living in Deer Lodge. And my grandfather and grandmother raised me, and they moved to Deer Lodge from here.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
But you were raised in Bartlesville?
No, not really. I went from Bartlesville to Nevada, Missouri. Yeah, and on a farm there. My granddad worked for the railroad when the first war started. I stayed home and done most of the chores at 9 years old, 12.
Well, what railroad was your grandfather working for?
Oh, let's see, what would be, let's see, the Katy, the MK&T, yeah, Missouri, Kansas, and Texas, wasn't it? Yeah.
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 Well, so you were working for the prison as a guard, then you started with the road crew, with the highway department as a survey crew.
As a rodman on the survey.
And then how long did you do that?
Oh, let's see, I got married in November '49, and went to Sealy Lake, lived at Legendary Lodge for 2 weeks, building the road from Clearwater Junction to Sealy. They transferred me to Old Pine, and it was at Old Pine, and then the winter got so bad we couldn't work. The snow was 25 feet deep, and we went to Wolf Creek, and I did just the instrument man picked up the timesheets of the cat skinners when they were plowing snow, and we did all the total for them. Then we moved from there. We went to Poplar and 6th Street at Trevor Bridges, and the road from Poplar to Flaxville. And while I was there, then I quit and I came back to work in Missoula again for the railroad, and then I went to work for the railroad at that time. I think it was in '51.
Was that to Milwaukee?
Yeah, Milwaukee in the roundhouse as electrician.
And where was the roundhouse?
In Deer Lodge.
Was that the main roundhouse for
Yes, yeah. They had a roundhouse in Miles City and in Avery, Idaho, and Deer Lodge, but Deer Lodge was the main one.
So what was the little round building they had up there in Butte, below the pit? What's that? Looks like it used to be a roundhouse. Any idea what that might be?
Below the pit?
Well, yeah, just down the hill from the pit. It wasn't a Milwaukee roundhouse then.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, no.
Yeah. So what'd you do in the roundhouse there? What was the purpose of the roundhouse, and what did you do?
Well, I did maintenance on the electric motors, and then mechanical and electrical. Yeah.
So you called engines motors.
Yeah. These are motors.
Okay.
Yeah. Electric is motors.
Yeah.
Yes.
So at that roundhouse, how many motors would you have in play? They're being worked on at any one time.
Oh, yeah. They'd come in ready to run, and then they'd pull them in and service them, and then push them right out unless they found a defect, and they held them for repairs.
Yeah. And what did you do on them?
Electrical. Yeah. Check the brushes on the armatures, and then change brushes. Yeah. From there.
They were pretty durable pieces of equipment, weren't they?
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah. The Joes were 5,500 horsepower apiece.
The Joe meaning the little Joe?
Yeah.
Why don't you hold that up and?
Yeah, the square ones, they were the first ones that came there.
So tell us about the kinds of engines they had. So the first one were what?
Well, they had the General Electric box cars first, and then I can't remember the name of the ones that they had. They had the E1, 2, and 3, and 4 was different, and they had the square. Then they had the GE switch engines. And then they had got the Joe's. Milwaukee bought 12 of them, and they had to send them in and re-get them because they were built for Russia.
And they were called Joe's because?
Yeah, probably because of Joe Stalin, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And did those come in after you started to work, or were they already there?
Yeah, they were already there. They just started coming in before I got there. Yeah.
They had pretty good pieces of equipment?
Oh yeah, they was in good shape. Still good shape when they shut down. And the substations were probably better shape than they were when they built them, with a difference in the class of insulation, rebuilding, rewinding and stuff on motors.
Now, how many substations did they have?
It's 14 in Montana and 7 in the Coast Division.
And then were they closer to each other in the mountainous areas or farther apart?
Not too much difference. About 29 to 32 miles, I think it was.
And so when did you leave working in the roundhouse?
Well, they went on, they cut the forest and all that there, went back to work with ACM in the lab, doing lab samples. And then
Where was that at?
Anaconda, yeah, Anaconda smelters. And then they went on strike, so I went back to work for the railroad.